I was delighted to see a few minutes ago last year's champion, Ian Walls from Milwaukee School of the Arts, High School of the Arts, walk in. You may know that he placed in the top 12. Actually, he was in the group of, I believe, 8 or 9 that got to perform in the finals last year, and he has spoken on behalf of the National Poetry Out Loud in various places all over the country, mainly in the Washington, D.C. area. So he's arrived today, and I'm delighted to see him. He's been off to college, not sure where.
University of Vermont.
Oh, a long ways. Very good. University of Vermont, and we are going to do something a little different this year. We're going to have him come up with some poem he vaguely remembers. And, well, he remembers some of this, and it was one of his best ones. And so we're going to have the judges judge him and see if they're kind of calibrating. And the thing is, he really probably hasn't done this since when?
When I was down in D.C. Earlier this year.
April?
May.
May? Okay. Okay.
Last year.
Last year, okay. So that's a special treat. So we're gonna have him come down and do this. And I hope one of you follows in his footsteps. Okay, you wanna come down, Ian?
Hi, everybody. All right. This is The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man is moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again. But now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born.
I have a feeling playing with this mic is going to be something all we do. Thank you so much, Ian. I'd forgotten what kind of hackles that raises on my neck. You haven't lost your touch, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again. Okay, we will begin this. What I did earlier, for those of you who may not have been here, is I introduced almost everybody except for the parents. And after, when we give awards, I'm going to have parents stand up, and we will do that after we begin here. I think we're just about ready to begin. I want to introduce two people here. First of all, Angela McJunkin, who this year it has her electric cello with her and will be playing for us. Stan Marcus, many of you probably know him, has done this in past years, and he had a huge doings this weekend, so he was unable to come. And I'm really glad to have Angela with us. And as long as we have had this, except for 1 year, since I think '07, Jim Fleming has been our MC. Jim Fleming, who, if you listen to public radio, is on even now in all sorts of ways, and his touches are still there. He's retired, but he's still very much involved with Chapter a Day, which I listened to. There were some really wonderful novels that he read this last year. Anyway, we have him here today, and he's going to be our MC, and he's going to do the rest of this. So, welcome, Jim.
Just a quick note, I think everybody by this time knows what the rules are. Each of the candidates, do you mind if I call you candidates? That's a difficult word right now in America. But you can give it a much, much stronger and nicer flavor. Each of you will come up in reverse alphabetical order. I'll introduce you. I will say something from the notes that you provided to us about your interests and your studies. You will come up and do your poem and receive your applause, I'm sure, and then sit down again. Angela will play while the judges have a moment or two to make their notes. And then, as soon as I know that it's time for us to go on, we'll throw Angela off her chair and break her cello. Hope that she can get it back together by the end of the next one. Are we all straight? Yes.
Who gives the scores to you? Pam?
Oh.
Do we give the scores to you? Who do we give the scores to?
So you're gonna, okay.
Okay.
Have it.
So you're going to come down in between and pick up the scores. A very good exercise for you. All right. It will be a long afternoon, not just for the candidates, but the rest of us are going to enjoy some extraordinary poems. So thank you all for being here. Our first is from Keisha Verbatim, who is from Wrightstown High School, where she is a senior. She said she's interested in biology, which goes pretty well with poetry.
Father by Edgar Albert Guest. My father knows the proper way the nation should be run. He tells us children every day just what should now be done. He knows the way to fix the truss. He has a simple plan. But if the furnace needs repairs, we have to hire a man. My father, in a day or two, could land big thieves in jail. There's nothing that he cannot do. He knows no word like fail. Our confidence he would restore. Of that there is no doubt. But if there is a chair to mend, we have to send it out. All public questions that arise, he settles on the spot. He waits not till the tumult dies, but grabs it while it's hot. In matters of finance, he can tell Congress what to do. But oh, he finds it hard to meet his bills as they fall due. It almost makes him sick to read the things lawmakers say. Why, father's just the man they need. He never goes astray. All wars he'd very quickly end, as fast as I can write it. But when a neighbor starts a fuss, 'tis mother has to fight it. In conversation, father can do many wondrous things. He's built upon a wiser plan than presidents or kings. He knows the ins and outs of each and every deep transaction. We look to him for theories, but look to Ma for action.
Next up is Cody Tula from Durand High School. He is active in a variety of ways, including having placed in the top 10 at the WFCA State Forensic Meet, and has been accepted into the nursing program at the UW-Madison as a freshman.
The Time I've Lost in Wooing by Thomas More. The time I've lost in wooing, in watching and pursuing the light that lies in women's eyes, has been my heart's undoing. Though wisdom oft has sought me, I'd scorn the lore she brought me. My only books were women's looks, and folly's all they've taught me. Her smile when beauty granted, I hung with gaze enchanted. Like him the sprite, who maids by night oft meet in glen that's haunted. Like him too beauty won me, but while her eyes were on me. If once their ray was turned away, oh, winds could not outrun me. And are those follies going? And is my proud heart growing too cold or wise for brilliant eyes again to set it glowing? No, vain, alas, the endeavor from bond so sweet to sever. Poor wisdom's chance, against a glance, is now as weak as ever.
Abigail Thompson is next. She's from the Milwaukee High School of the Arts, and obviously very involved in theater.
Slant by Suji Kwok Kim. If the angle of an eye is all, the slant of hope, the slant of dreaming, according to each life, what is the light of this city? Light of Lady Liberty, possessor of the most famous armpit in the world? Light of the lovers on Chinese soap operas, throwing barbecue ducks at each other, with that live it up while you're young, woo me kind of love. Light of the old men sitting on crates outside gewgaw shops, selling dried seahorses and plastic temples of heaven. Light of the yin and yang junk palace, light of the Golden Phoenix hair salon, light of Wigoramas, light of the suntanners in Central Park turning over like rotisserie chickens, sizzling on a spit. Light of the Pluck You and Gone with the Wings fried chicken shops, the parking meter leaners, the glamazons, the oglers wearing fern-wilting quantities of cologne, strutting, trash-talking, glorious. The immigrants, the refugees, the peddlers, stockbrokers and janitors, stenographers and cooks. All of us, making and unmaking ourselves, hurrying forwards toward who will become. One way only. One life only. Free in time, but not from it. Here in the city, the living make together, and make and unmake over and over, quick, quick, ask heaven of it, of every mortal relation. Feeling that is fleeing. For what would the heart be without a heaven to set it on? I can't help thinking no word will ever be as full of life as this world. I can't help thinking of thanks.
Taylor Thomas is next, from Green Bay West High, where she is a junior. Involved in forensics, student council, and very proud of NHS.
I Too by Langston Hughes. I, too, sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I, too, am America.
And now Jillian Staven of DeForest Area High, where she's a junior. She's on her form said she loves German class, but then goes on to talk about theater, reading, fishing, gardening, sailing, and art.
A Graveyard by Marion Moore. Man, looking into the sea, taking the view from those who have as much right to it as you have it to yourself. It is human nature to stand in the middle of a thing, but you cannot stand in the middle of this. The sea has nothing to give but a well-excavated grave. The firs stand in a procession, each with an emerald turkey foot at the top, reserved as their contours, saying nothing. Repression, however, is not the most obvious characteristic of the sea. The sea is a collector, quick to return a rapacious look. There are others besides you who have worn that look, whose expression is no longer a protest. The fish no longer investigate them, for their bones have not lasted. Men lower nets, unconscious of the fact that they are desecrating a grave, and row quickly away, the blades of the oars moving together like the feet of water spiders, as if there were no such thing as death. The wrinkles progress upon themselves in a phalanx, beautiful under networks of foam, and fade breathlessly, while the sea rustles in and out of the seaweed. The birds swim through the air at top speed, emitting catcalls as heretofore. The tortoiseshell scourges about the feet of the cliffs, in motion beneath them, and the ocean, under the pulsation of lighthouses and noise of bell buoys, advances as usual, looking not as if it were that ocean in which drop things are bound to sink, in which, if they turn and twist, it is neither with volition nor consciousness. Thank you.
Kirsten Meyer, now, from Brookfield Central High School, where she's a senior. It's a little surprising to discover that not poetry, but painting is her passion.
Kubla Khan by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, or A Vision in a Dream, a fragment. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure-dome decree, where Elf, the sacred river, ran through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground, with walls and towers, were girdled round. And there were gardens bright with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree. And here were forests, ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. But oh, that deep, romantic chasm which slanted down the green hill athwart a cedarn cover, a savage place, as holy and enchanted as air, beneath a waning moon was haunted by woman wailing for her demon lover. And from this chasm, with ceaseless turmoil seething, as if this earth in fast, thick pants were breathing. A mighty fountain momently was forced, amid whose swift, half-intermitted bursts huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail, or chaffy grain beneath the thresher's flail. And mid these dancing rocks at once and ever, it flung up momently the sacred river, 5 miles, meandering with a mazy motion. Through wood and dale the sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless to man, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult, Kubla heard from far ancestral voices prophesying war. The shadow of the dome of pleasure floated midway on the waves, where was heard the mingled measure from the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, a sunny pleasure dome with caves of ice. A damsel with a dulcimer in a vision once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her dulcimer she played, singing of Mount Abora. Could I revive within me her symphony and song? To such a deep delight would win me, that with music loud and long I would build that dome in air, that sunny dome, those caves of ice. And all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, "Beware, beware! His flashing eyes, his floating hair." Weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy dread, for he on honey dew hath fed and drunk the milk of paradise.
Janessa Gould, now, please, from Altoona High School, where she's a junior. Art, not unexpectedly. Forensics, that makes sense. But also softball, student council, spending time outdoors and exploring new places.
April Midnight by Arthur Symons. Side by side through the streets at midnight, roaming together through the tumultuous nights of London in the miraculous April weather. Roaming together under the gaslight, day's work over. How the spring calls to us here in the city, calls to the heart from the heart of a lover. Cool to the wind blows, fresh in our faces. Cleansing, entrancing, after the heat and the fumes and the footlights, where you dance, and I watch your dancing. Good it is to be here together, good to be roaming, even in London, even at midnight, lover-like in a lover's gloaming. You, the dancer, and I, the dreamer. Children together, wandering lost in the night of London, in the miraculous April weather.
Sumi Famule is next. She's from Superior High School, where she's a junior. I think this is the first time we've had a contestant from Superior, so welcome and thank you. She believes in creative writing. It's the class where she can be the most imaginative.
Dirge Without Music by Edna St. Vincent Millay. I am not resigned to the shutting away of loving hearts in the hard ground. So it is, and so it will be, for so it has been. Time out of mind. Into the darkness they go, the wise and the lovely, crowned with lilies and with laurel they go. But I am not resigned. Lovers and thinkers, into the earth with you. Be one with the dull, the indiscriminate dust. A fragment of what you felt, of what you knew. A formula, a phrase remains, but the best is lost. The answers, quick and keen. The honest look, the laughter, the love. They are gone. They are gone to feed the roses. Elegant and curled is the blossom. Fragrant is the blossom. I know, but I do not approve. More precious was the light in your eyes than all the roses in the world. Down, down, down into the darkness of the grave. Gently they go. The beautiful, the tender, the kind. Quietly they go. The intelligent, the witty, the brave. I know, but I do not approve. And I am not resigned.
From Lodi High School next, a freshman, Amanda Crowder. Favorite subject? Science. I enjoy designing and performing experiments to better our understanding of the world and how it works.
Ice Child by John Haynes. Cold for so long, unable to speak, yet your mouth seems framed on a cry or a stifled question. Who placed you here and left you to this lonely eternity of ash and ice? And himself returned to the dust fields, the church, and the temple. Was it God, the sun god of the Incas, the imperial god of the Spaniards, or only the priests of that god? Self-elected voice of the volcano that speaks once in 100 years. And I wonder, with your image before me, what life might you have lived? Had you lived at all? Whose companion? Whose love? To be perhaps no more than a slave of that earthly master. A jug of water on your shoulder, year after stunted year. A bundle of reeds and corn, kindling for a fire on whose buried hearth. There were furies to be fed, then as now, blood to fatten the sun, a heart for the lightning to strike. And now the furies walk the streets, a swarm in the milling crowd.
They stand to the podium, speak of their coming ascension. Through all this drift and clamor, you have survived. In this cramped and haunted effigy, another entry on the historian's dated page. Under the weight of this mountain, once a god, now only restless stone, we find your interrupted life, placed here among the trilobites and shells, so late unearthed.
We've been going in reverse alphabetical order, which must mean that Sarah Brown has been accustomed to being first, and today in the first round will be last. From Brookfield Central High School.
Epilogue by Robert Browning. At the midnight in the silence of the sleep time, when you set your fancies free, will they pass to where by death fools think imprisoned? Lo, he lies who once so loved you, whom you loved so. Pity me? Oh, to love so, be so loved, yet so mistaken. What had I on earth to do with the slothful, with the mawkish, the unmanly? Like the aimless, helpless, hopeless did I drivel, being who? One who never turned his back, but marched breast forward, never doubted clouds would break, never dreamed, though right were worsted, wrong would triumph. How'd we fall to rise, are baffled to fight better, sleep to wake. No, at noonday, in the bustle of man's work time, greet the unseen with a cheer, bid him forward breast and back as either should be. Strive and thrive, cry speed, fight on, fare ever there as he.